All right, let's get into the weeds here. I like to ask about like rituals and process.
Okay.
So when you cast something, you get a feature film or something or a Mercury commercial. Do you have a ritual or anything you go about doing the same from project to project? I realize now after interviewing a lot of casting directors, every project's different. So if you say that, okay.
Well,
that defeats the question.
No, every project is different, but
you got to have some similar things you do.
Sure. I mean, there's a difference in approach to a commercial than there is to a film or a scripted television show, for sure. Theatrical casting, though, is pretty similar across the board in regard to like how almost all of us approach it.
Yeah.
Right. So, there are little things that everyone does to kind of get into it and wrap their heads around it. I like to read through scripts a couple different times, or I like to see art, like concept art. I like to when we also have to meet on projects and kind of win those projects in the same way that you guys do.
Right. Yeah.
So if we're really into something, we will work very hard to try to win that project in regard to preparing for that meeting. So we did a show called Wayne, and it was for producers that we had worked for previously, but it was totally very different than what we had done for them before. And so we read the script and the pilot, and we fell in love with it. And so I was like, Chrissy, we also knew who we were meeting against, and we were meeting against some legacy casting directors. And because we got some intel on who we were meeting against, I was like, we have to go for this one.
Yeah.
So we put together a really beautiful book of ideas in regard to we printed out headshots and resumes of people that we knew that we, we actually, I had seen a screener of Sing Street, like a month before that meeting. And so Ferdia and Mark were both in our book, for Wayne, and Mark has ended up getting the job. But, we pulled images that weren't even necessarily of people, but just of what we envisioned the tone of the piece to be.
Yeah.
And we created this beautiful book. We're negotiating on a film right now that's really exciting, and unfortunately we're not close, so I can't say anything about it. But
sounds like you do a lot of preparation. You visualize it. You figure out the puzzle.
There's a lot of music in this script that we're negotiating on right now, and some of it I knew and some of it I didn't, because again, I'm an elder millennial, so I'm not that cool. So some of it I was unfamiliar with, so I opened Spotify, and as I was reading through the script, I was playing the music with that was written into the script, and that helped a lot.
Absolutely. That's something that us actors and you guys have in common is you have to compete for jobs, and you have to do your prep to get that said job. Yeah,
because we have to sell ourselves and our, if we're not, we have to be right tonally for the project too.
Right.
And we're not appearing in it, but we're helping populate it, and we're essentially collaborating with the rest of the filmmakers to create a cohesive, piece.
Yeah.
So we really do have to vibe with everybody.
Absolutely.
So there's a little bit of prep there, and sometimes we really like the project, and then we meet with the people and we're like, we didn't really vibe with them. That's okay,
I like to ask about casting directors about winning the room for actors. How does a casting director win the room with the producers or the director?
Well, that's interesting. Sometimes I feel like we won the room and we don't get the job.
Welcome to
And I will say that Chrissy's not here, but
your partner.
She's my partner. She is really, really good at that. She's just.
You almost look like you're rolling your eyes a little bit.
No, not at all. She's so good at it.
Oh, she's so good.
She's so good at it. She's just a people person, and people really respond to her. And she's just really good at navigating that particular environment.
When you do that pitch, do you view it more of a job interview or like an audition? Do you consider it an audition?
Yeah. It's an audition in the same way that a script pitch is an audition, in the same way that a physical audition is an audition. It's all song and dance and jazz hands and blah, blah, blah.
Because sometimes I feel like the people person in an acting audition isn't necessarily ideal. because you got a busy day, you got people to see, and the last thing you want to do is talk about the schmuck and his new hybrid vehicle.
If you translate it like that, yes, but you can be charismatic and charming and still efficient.
Yeah.
In your time with us. You know what I mean?
Oh, I totally know.
Engaging.
I totally know. When I interviewed George Basil, I don't know if you're familiar with him. Yes. He just has a George Basil way about him. And I feel like when he goes in an audition room, he's won that room, whether or not he's the right fit or not.
That's right.
Doesn't matter. He's won it by being George Basil.
Yes. Tracy Ellis Ross is the same.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can feel her through the screen of your iPhone.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like she's incredible.
And Chrissy, apparently, similar too.
Let's put them all in a box here and see what happens.
Shake it up.
Yeah.